You see a toothbrush that says WRS? One of us have been there.
No. What's up, good people? Welcome to another edition of Field Vision, brought to you by War Room Sports in conjunction with Sports Kings. I'm one of your hosts at the round table this evening. I'm Devin McMillan, and I'm here with Jim Ricalto of Sports Kings.
Hey, man, I've been working out, so I had to show off the traps this episode for all my sweeties.
And Jimmy Williams of War Room Sports.
Hey, ladies, at me.
Well, we all know that the draft just went down last week, and that was a pretty big deal. But, you know, before we actually get into draft grades and what teams are actually going to look like, you know, we're going to let everybody settle in, you know, do their mini camps or whatever. So this week we're going to talk a little bit more about a few social issues that happened in football this week. But since Jim wasn't with us last week on our draft show, we are, you know, Jim, I'm going to ask you, how'd you like the Pittsburgh Steelers draft?
I was elated, even though a couple picks weren't what I expected. I went back and I saw that I saw the reasoning on taking Le'Veon Bell over Eddie Lacy. I thought that was a good pick after I saw their reasoning. We got an immediate starter in Jarvis Jones to replace James Harrison and push Jason Worlds. And we got a guy that's very similar to Mike Wallace, and actually, scouting-wise, was touted as a more polished Mike Wallace. So we replaced our three biggest losses with potential starters. You can't do any better than that. And then we got some depth as well. So, hey, we're back. That's all I got to say.
Cool. I don't have any details about the Eagles draft. We didn't draft Geno Smith, so I'm cool with that. Jimmy, what about you?
I just want to say, I just want to ask you a question, Dev. How many fans of their team are upset after the draft? Everybody's pumped up after the draft talking about how great their team did. So,
exactly. Because you really don't know. You really don't know if the players suck until they actually start playing. So, you know,
I think Dallas had a shitty draft. Dallas's draft is something to write home about. They suck.
They always do.
After the '83 draft, do you think people you know, talked about that draft like we got exactly who we wanted? You know, we see how that played out after the fact.
Probably not. Miami, you know, all these years later, they talk a lot of stuff about Dan Marino, but when they got him at that pick, they're probably like, oh, this guy probably stinks. That's why they waited so long to take him.
Pretty sure he never won a Super Bowl.
No, we got B. Austin from War Room Sports in the house with us.
Dan Marino's overrated.
Top of the evening to you. Hi.
All right, so let's get right into this because there was only a few stories that we want to talk about. The first one came down the pipe earlier in the week before, you know, the sports world was flipped on its head with people kicking open closet doors and stuff like that. Tim Tebow, the polarizing backup quarterback for the New York Jets, is no longer the backup quarterback for the New York Jets because the Jets released him. All right, so the circus is over in New York, fellas. What's the next stop for the circus? What's next for Tim Tebow, Jim?
Tebow. Sorry.
I think that you know, Tim Tebow, I've never seen a backup quarterback that can get a press conference when he gets so much hype after he gets released. Like, we all saw it coming. But I do think that he'll get another shot in the NFL as a backup, only because you look at some of these guys, like Pat White got another shot. At least Tim Tebow went to the playoffs once and got the luckiest win of his life, but still pisses me off. But I see no reason why he shouldn't go to So, I mean, if you look at his body of work, he hasn't been totally awful winning football games. And he's done a lot better than some backups that are backing up teams right now. So to say he'll never be in the NFL again is weird to me.
Just
I think he'll get another shot, but
aesthetically, it's awful. You know, it's just.
But the results.
His mechanics.
Are we about aesthetics?
I'm actually a Tim Tebow fan. You know, I'm not stupid enough to go out on a limb and try to defend him as a passer in the NFL or anything like that.
Oh, me either, but he just wins. Like.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm just a fan, just out of being an asshole. I'm a fan because I like to get on the side of something that everybody else is upset about. So when his name comes up and I see how angry people get when they talk about him, it makes me want to defend the dude. I can't defend him, you know, mechanics-wise or anything like that, but I mean, from the little bit of time that he's had, he has proven, and I know that it's the consummate team game. So he hasn't done anything by himself. But the dude wins games. When I take him as the quarterback of my Eagles, hell no. But be awesome. What do you think about Tim Tebow's release, and where do you think he may end up?
Look at me closely, ladies and gentlemen. They didn't accept Jesus Christ when he came here. But I accept my Lord and Savior, Tebus. He will be risen, and we will win again because he is Tebus Christ.
Jimmy, where do you think he's going to end up?
Honestly, I don't know. I would say,
Home Depot?
Of course, everybody says Jacksonville or even Miami may be a destination for him.
Canada.
And, you know, everybody knows why. I heard the USFL is coming back, so, you know, they can start their league off with a superstar because he is a superstar.
Jesus Christ superstar.
Yo,
Regardless of how he
seriously,
plays.
USA Today is reporting that Omaha Beef Company has asked him to play in their indoor league for $75 per game.
Pause.
Yo, Tebow can make more money than that as an evangelist.
Yo,
but,
Tebow can make more money never playing football again.
I think that offer is a little disrespectful. That's the kind of offers Allen Iverson is getting right now. But you know,
I can't get around. Yo, here's my thing, though. Here's my thing. My question is this: this whole thing with the Jets. What was the point? He never got a chance to play. He didn't get a fair shake, and then you wait till after the draft to cut him. If you were going to cut him, why not cut him before the draft, before teams had their roster made up? Why wait till after the draft to cut him? That was like
Jets are run by dickheads.
I tried
that's disrespectful, yo.
I tried to give the Jets the benefit of the doubt throughout the whole thing, but I really do think that they're like a circus. They're like attention whores a little bit because there was really no reason to do all of this because even when Mark Sanchez went out of the game, they still didn't go to Tim Tebow. So it makes you wonder what was all the hoopla about. Why'd you bring him in? You know,
I wanted to say something intelligent and intellectual about Tebow, but Devin said everything that I feel, so there was nothing left but for me to make it funny. But I do support the dude. I like everything that he stands for, not so much in the sense of his religious beliefs, but the fact that he's not afraid of what media storm is coming based on his actions. And I've never seen someone hated or so vilified in the media for his religious beliefs. I mean, dude is I like dude, man. I like him. He wins games. It's ugly. He plays leather helmet football. Jimmy, I'm interested in you furthering your opinion because he played for your squad and you had a chance to see this dude up close and personal.
Honestly, I don't give a Sam hell what happens to him. He's not on my team no more. No, I don't like him. I supported him when he was a Bronco. He's no longer a Bronco, so I don't support him. I don't care if he ever wins again. I don't care if he ever plays in the NFL again. In the hell with him.
Okay.
All right. Well, with that,
he ain't going down. I can tell you that.
That blasphemy will put you in a position where lightning will strike.
All right. Well, look, let's move on to something else because, like I said, this is basically like a social edition. Not going to be a lot of analysis going on here.
There will be some beer drinking.
Robert Griffin III, RG3, has been in the news this week 3 times actually, but you know we're going to talk about 2 of them.
The cornball brother.
One of them is basically because of some tweets that he sent out the other day. They're being described as cryptic. Because, first of all, people don't really know if his tweets were in relation to the council member in D.C. who's pushing for the Washington Redskins to change their team name, or if the tweets were in relation to Chris Broussard's situation, you know, regarding Jason Collins and him coming out of the closet. The tweet basically said, and I quote, "In a land of freedom, we're held hostage by the tyranny of political correctness." Now, we talk about this all the time, especially, you know, on our podcast in the Royal Room. We don't really dig the whole PC era that society has gone into. If you have something to say, speak your mind. You can speak your mind in a tactful way without being disrespectful to people. So I agree wholeheartedly, 100% with RG3 and his sentiments. But the ironic thing about it is I kind of think and I wonder, where were these sentiments when Rob Parker was saying something non-politically correct about RG3 and he was getting raked over the coals and losing his job?
See, I got RG3's number. See, I understand exactly who and what he is. RG3 likes to be different. He likes to be perceived as someone who is somewhat intellectual, kind of a smart guy, while at the same time being perceived as a tough guy on the gridiron and all of that. So he send out this cryptic message. My response to that is that it's malarkey, it's bull honky, and here's why. It's not that what he said didn't have some merit. The premise that he was expounding and pushing out there definitely has merit. But, dude, people that think freely and speak their minds are never held hostage by public opinion. If you are the type of person that's honest with yourself and honest with your audience, then you just speak your mind and consequences, be damned. Find a small sense of filter, find some way to be tactful, but you're never held hostage because you don't consider the opinions of others as being a gun to your head. So while it sounded glib, it sounded smart for the people to kind of take it in and run with it. At the end of the day, people that really aren't held prisoner don't feel that way anyway. So
for me, I didn't really take task with the actual words he used because I knew where he was going. I mean, we live in a politically correct world, and people, because there are consequences for speaking your mind. I think that's basically where he was going. My only question is, and I in no way think that it's his duty to defend someone who's actually attacking him at the moment, if you want to call it an attack. But he didn't stand on what he claims to believe. But at the same time, I still, that doesn't take away the fact that you could have at least expressed those sentiments. So while he's saying I don't really care what Rob Parker says about me, he can also express
that's that man's right.
I don't believe in political correctness, so he can say what he wants. That's his opinion, but I don't know.
I'm gonna be very brief, and I'm gonna let y'all rock on this because I have nothing to say about this gentleman, other than the fact is, if that's the case, speak your mind. Stop sending out cryptic messages, then you coward.
Whoa!
Yeah, that's talking to you, RG3, Bob Griffin.
When people see this video, they're not gonna take anything you say seriously, especially Redskins fans, because you got that Eagles hat on. So they're gonna dismiss your comments right away.
So. Albert Morris is my favorite running back.
I know. We know that. They don't know that. But Jim, you got anything on this RG3 thing before we move on to the next RG3 story?
I think I'm going to move on from RG3 himself into the whole political correctness phrase and paradigm that we have in America today. I think the narrative. I think that he could have maybe said what he was talking about and just spoke it straight like Jimmy said. But I actually wrote an article today that was totally on the side of Chris Broussard and Mike Wallace, because I believe that what they said, even though it wasn't that bad, if you actually look at it, it wasn't politically correct in the eyes of all the oversensitive cause whores. So
as he drinks his Corona,
hashtag cause whores.
So you got all these these idiots coming down on Mike Wallace and Chris Broussard for exercising their freedom of speech and freedom of religion, and then you got the whole vanguard coming to defend the gay people. I'm like, why can't we defend their rights too? You know what I mean? It's not like they both went on tirades bashing gay people. So it's like, if you're gonna be politically correct, I think, how are you supposed to have your own opinion and be politically correct? If you don't agree with something, you're allowed to say it because this is America.
Right.
And that's it. I just think political correctness is, in a way, tyrannical, because if you're against the grain, people come down harder on you than if you're not, and that's just not fair. If we're all supposed to be equal.
Good point. Definitely. All right. So the other news about RG3 that came down is the article in ESPN the magazine, where it's actually written as a 5,000-word letter to President Barack Obama, from Robert Griffin III, and the general point that he's making in this article is that if he had this season to do over again, if he got injured again, he would take himself out of the game. He would sit out. He would sit out until he's 100%. I kind of looked at that as, well, let me read some of the comments. He was like talking about what happened this year. He said your survivor instincts kick in. You're like, I'm a warrior. I'm a beast. I do all these things. I can push through adversity. But he said if I had another incident like the Nada hit, I'm out of the game. You pull yourself out at that point. You learn from your mistakes. And he said, I don't feel like playing against the Seahawks was a mistake, but I see the mistake in it. With what happened and how everything was running, you take me out. If that happened again next year, I'd come out of the game and sit until I was 100% healthy. And I look at the words, you take me out. So this is what they've been talking about, DC Sports Radio, for the past day or so. They're trying to see, like, forget the tweets, because that was already one thing where he was supposed to be sending cryptic messages, but they feel the same thing about this article. Like, is there something between RG3 and Coach Shanahan that they're not expressing publicly, but they're kind of sending he's kind of sending little barbs through this article? You know, is he finally speaking out to say that Coach Shanahan handled his injury the wrong way? What do you guys think about that?
I think this, right? He has to be smart and just understand how the world works. So even if there isn't anything going on between him and Coach Shanahan, guess what? Now there is, because we're going to make it an issue. Starts with us, and so is the rest of the media. So with that being said, be smart and just watch what you say, man. You know, I'm not telling you to be a prisoner or anything, but at the end of the day, this is what's going to happen. He started it, so let's just, let's start making up what's going on between him and Shanahan, because that's what's going to happen anyway.
Well, everybody says Shanahan doesn't like black people. That's the whole...
Okay, Kanye.
I'm looking.
I don't believe that, by the way. I don't agree with that.
I'm looking at everything that's happening with RG3, and it seems to me that he wants to be this outspoken athlete, but it seems like when he speaks out, he's not speaking all the way out. So it's like stop being cryptic, like Jimmy said earlier, and say what you have to say.
Say it with your chest.
I'm starting to think that there's a little bit of finger pointing going on about how the injury was handled in the first place. Now, if that's the case, I wouldn't disagree with the man, because last season when it all happened, I spoke out saying, I don't think they should have handled him that way, and what the Redskins fans say. You're a hater, this and that. So they all defended Mike Shanahan. But I guarantee you, if RG3 did indeed come out and start pointing the finger at his coach, everybody's sentiment will switch, because he is like the hero of DC right now. So, I mean, I'm glad that he's saying that he learned from his mistakes, because he shouldn't let this team just use him up like that, send him out there half broken and put his career, his livelihood, and his earning potential in jeopardy. But we said that last year. I think he's just now starting to get that.
That was said, and he is now getting some advice on maintaining his brand.
Somebody said something to him.
In business, and they've sat him down and explained it to him, kind of like we would have if he had enrolled in the War Room Sports Big Brother mentorship program and chosen one of us to advise him on the decisions that he should and should not make, like those socks and that hair. But he's definitely wising up. My whole thing is, just as Jimmy said, say it with your chest. Stop with all the cryptic subliminals. You're not a rapper. Just speak out. If you want to be known as an outspoken person, you can take that, make that a part of your brand, and run with it. I think people will accept it. At this point, he's hot enough that they ignore the fact that he only passes for 100 yards in a game. So he's obviously hot enough to where he's got the ear of the people. Go ahead and rock with it, man. Say what's on your mind. Let it out. Don't give us this cryptic stuff so that we end up speculating and pointing at Shannon.
And by the way, real quick, back to that whole thing where people thought he might have been tweeting about the whole Redskins name change thing. My advice would be to you, RG3, like, I don't believe in political correctness, but there's also things that you just shouldn't involve yourself in, and I'd stay away from that with a 1,000-foot pole
away.
Stay away from that situation. Don't be a company man on that. Let Snyder handle the whole name change pressure.
Plane and fly.
It's not worth it. Trust me, it is not worth it. So, before we sign off, Jim, you want to tell everybody where they can find everything, all the work that the Sports Kings are putting out, and that new article that you just released?
Sports-Kings.com. I have a new piece up there.
Yeah.
Just today, it's gotten a lot of positive feedback so far. And as far as that goes, Sports Kings right here, Rant Sports, down here, and I'm not sure how they got, and I'm not sure how they got verified on Twitter either. I have no idea, but
damn.
All right, Jimmy, where can everybody find the work?
I challenge any Rant Sports writer to outright me. I dare you.
Yo, he's shooting at y'all. Drive by.
Yo, all I gotta say about us,
with no mask.
Yo,
So
War Room Sports, man. War Room Sports, everything, man. Twitter, Facebook,
Google.
Instagram, Pinterest, Google Plus, YouTube. We just War Room Sports. And like I always say, you may find us in your mother's room. If you're really not sure, just check and see if you see a toothbrush that says. If you see a toothbrush that says WRS, one of us have been there.
Yo, shout out to Sally, Bonita Applebaum, and your mom.
All right, well, look, you guys, make sure you first of all make sure you watch Field Vision on War Room Sports TV
Chip Kelly
every week because War Room Sports and Sports Kings, we put the work in for you, so give us the views.
Get this work.
Make sure you click the like button on the videos when you watch them, and make sure you subscribe to the page. You'll see that link somewhere in your screen. So this has been another episode of Field Vision. Until next week, everybody, don't accept mediocrity and be steadfast in the war against ignorance.
See you chumps on top. Bye, beautiful ladies.
It's the war room with 5 nights at the round table, 5 Philly guys diversified and